Something that obviously I wasn't uploading, so I couldn't talk about it, but it definitely deserves to be talked about. Is Sir David Amess was killed while he was doing an event for his constituents. The killing of Conservative MP Sir David Amess is being treated as a terrorist incident by police. All we knew was that someone walked into the church, I believe, where he was addressing constituents, and a guy just started stabbing the shit out of him, and it was not known what the cause was at the time, but then they've managed to find out that it was definitely linked to Islamic terrorism. And apparently, the guy who did it also said that it wasn't that Sir David Amess was targeted specifically, he was just unlucky. And so, yeah, there you are. Sir David was stabbed multiple times at his constituency, sorry, not a church, it was a surgery, in Leigh-on-Sea in Essex on Friday. The Metropolitan Police said there was a potential link to Islamist extremism, and they've confirmed that it in fact was. A 25-year-old British man was arrested at the scene on suspicion of murder. Home Secretary Priti Patel paid tribute to Sir David as a man of the people and who was killed doing a job he loved. Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer laid flowers at the scene together on Saturday morning. Miss Patel and Commons Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle also paid their respects outside Belfair's Methodist Church in Leigh-on-Sea. And one thing, as someone who actually has ran in an election, is MPs do need more protection. They absolutely do. I mean, they've needed more protection since what happened to Jo Cox when she was killed by some lunatic. And there are things that are the case if you want to be a politician that I think definitely should not be. For example, I've ran in a couple of elections, and there are a few things they do right and a few things they definitely do wrong. For example, if you want to run in an election, you need to sign up to the poll with your address, your actual address, and as soon as you sign up to it with that, your address then becomes public record. People can just see where you live. So what a lot of people do, and that's what I did, is I just put my address as the location of the party headquarters. Like that's what I did for UKIP, and that's what I did for the Libertarian Party as well. So that's what I did, obviously, because I need to take measures to protect my family. And one thing that you do also get as well, which I think is very, very good, basically, I got a visit from the police. Like I've got a police liaison officer. If you are a person that's a risk of being attacked, then you get a police liaison officer. And what happens is they put a red alert on your street, which means that if the police are called to your street for absolutely any reason whatsoever, they send an armed unit out. Even if it's something like a domestic 6 doors down, because a call get put out to your street, they send out an armed unit. So basically, if you've ever had like a little minor thing happen in your street, but armed police turn up, it means you've got a red alert on your street for some reason. But that's something that's good. I think that's a good thing, obviously, to protect MPs, because, as much as I disagree with people, like Nicola Sturgeon and Hamza Yusuf and stuff like that, no, I do not want them to die, and no, I do not want them attacked. That is definitely not how politics or anything should be conducted. But speaking a short time later, Miss Patel said, "We are all struggling to come to terms with the fact that David Amess has been so cruelly taken away from all of us." She said the South West MP was absolutely there for everyone. He was a much-loved parliamentarian. To me, he was a dear and loyal friend, but also he was a devoted husband and father. Miss Patel, who has asked police forces to immediately review security arrangements for MPs, like good call, maintained a balance could be found to allow face-to-face meetings with constituents to continue. And to the MPs that actually do that, hats off to you, that's great. You're actually, putting the boots on and going out and actually meeting with your constituents to address their problems, because not a lot of MPs do that. I'm not going to say who my MP is, because I don't want to dox where I live, obviously, but my MP does not do that at all. My MP doesn't even answer emails. We will carry on. We live in an open society, a democracy, she said. We cannot be cowed by any individual or any motivation to stop us from functioning. Sir David, 69, had been an MP since 1983 and was married with 4 daughters and a son. He is the second serving MP to be killed in recent years, following the murder of Labour MP Jo Cox in July of 2016. The Met said officers are carrying out searches at 2 addresses in the London area and are not seeking anyone else over the death. The force believes the man, who is in custody in Essex, acted alone, but inquiries into the circumstances of the incident are continuing. This article is a little bit out of date, but it seems that it was just a lone wolf. Government sources have told the BBC he is a British national who, from initial inquiries, appears to be of Somali heritage. BBC security correspondent Frank Gardner reports Whitehall officials are saying the arrested man was not on a database of terror suspects. Now, that turns out to not be true. He was actually known to counter-terrorism police. They spoke to him, and he also attended an anti-radicalisation seminar that he was forced to go to, and obviously, well, it didn't work, did it? Scotland Yard's decision that the killing of Sir David Amess was an act of terrorism confirms that on the basis of what they know so far, the killer was motivated to use violence to further their cause, which, yep, that is the definition of terrorism, and that's what Antifa does. There is no public suggestion from investigations at the moment that there is a specific additional threat to MPs, but detectives and colleagues in MI5 will be delving deeply into the life of the suspect to understand how he reached this mindset and whether this was an attack by a lone actor or someone who is part of a network. And I believe they have looked into it so far, and it was just a lone guy, who was watching and Jim Chowdhury videos, funnily enough. And that's what ended up radicalising him. He wasn't connected to any group or anything like that. This was something that he just decided to do on his own. Secondly, it confirms the initial conclusion that there would need to be more resources thrown at the investigation. Behind the scenes, a wider range of detectives and support staff will now have been brought into action. If officers have recovered the suspect's mobile phone, they will now be forensically examining its contents to uncover potential evidence of mindset and planning. A phone and any bank cards will also help detectives track the suspect's movements in the days and weeks before the incident. That in turn leads them to CCTV so they can build a three-dimensional view of his life. Sir David was holding a constituency surgery where voters can meet their MP and discuss concerns at the church it was a church, for God's sake, on Friday when he was attacked at 12:05 BST. The Met later said the fatal stabbing was being declared a terrorism incident, with the investigations being led by counter-terrorism policing. Police added the early investigation has revealed a potential motivation linked to Islamist extremism. Officers are appealing for anyone with any information or with footage from CCTV, dashcams, etc., to contact them. Southend Borough Councillor John Lamb, who went to the scene after hearing the MP had been stabbed, said the paramedics had been working on Sir David for over 2.5 hours and they hadn't got him on the way to the hospital. We knew it had to be extremely serious and that the worst scenario could occur. I don't know why he wasn't just immediately put into the ambulance. Why 2.5 hours? I find that really strange. It'd be a case of, you load him quickly onto the bed and then while you're taking him to the hospital, you're working on stopping the bleeding. 2.5 hours, I don't know. That's weird. I don't know, I'm not an EMT. Maybe an EMT that watches can explain it down in the comments. But that just seems a bit weird to me. The mood in Leon saying this is just lots of stuff about the mood and stuff like that. And paying tributes. But yeah. One of the things I do agree with is, yes, MPs absolutely should be protected, because one thing that definitely should not be happening, I don't care if you're in Labour or the SNP, I realise that me and you guys definitely do not get along, and we disagree on very, very many things. However, no, you absolutely should not be attacked, and you should not be violently assaulted, and no, you definitely should not be fucking killed, despite our disagreements. That's not a good way to conduct politics, so MPs getting their security ramped up, yes, I'm completely in favour of that, because we don't want another Joe Cox and we don't want another David Amess. And I mean, well done to him for still going and meeting his constituents face to face. However, I would definitely not be surprised if MPs now no longer want to do that. And it's taking away, their interaction with the public and addressing their constituents directly, but in the same breath, I cannot blame them for not wanting to. So, yeah, hopefully security gets ramped up so that we can make sure that something like this doesn't happen again.